This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring retired FBI Special Agent Coffindaffer.
There's reports that this guy had been walking around for like a half hour around the area. People had been saying, hey, look at this. There's a guy with a gun. And it's still, it seemed like, this is just my conjecture. Everyone was like, that's not my job. That's somebody else has got to do this, got to do that. Somebody else has got to take. And it just, it was kind of just dumbfounding that it sat there like that without anybody taking action when you have a former president in a clear line of sight.
Yeah, there's a lot that's going to come out. I'm glad that DHS, who's over the Secret Service, that their Office of Inspector General, which is specifically put together to investigate these types of lapses and any other possible, investigation concerning the actions or non-action of these agents. I cannot wait to see that report. So much is crystal clear in terms of the what we call the middle perimeter and the outer perimeter. And that is, it wasn't covered. And the question is why. I found it interesting that, I think it was 2 motorcycle officers were transferred that were on the detail. Did they not show up? And that's why they were seemingly punished. Who didn't show up or who did show up and was just sitting there inside, on their cell phone? I'm saying that tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Not watching to make sure nobody could get up on the roof. We know that 2 officers attempted to get up on the roof. One officer supposedly was kind of boosting the other officer in some way. He peeks over the roof. The shooter, would-be assassin, turns and the guy ducks. I really can't fault him for that. You have to duck. He probably didn't have his gun drawn because he's scaling this building or ladder. He's got his hands up there. I've been in that position before, and it is very difficult to balance yourself. But there were so many lapses before that, way before that, because I think that's what caused the shooter to, I believe, immediately shoot. And I think that's why his target acquisition was a little bit off because he knew the gig was up. He's got police right there coming up the building. He doesn't know how many more are going to follow. I think it's at that point he decides to pull the trigger multiple times.
Yeah, because it happened very quickly after that. How concerned are you going forward as we get, heavy here into campaign season, not just presidential campaign season, but you have congressional races, you have state races, you have all sorts of things, and this heated climate where now, if you get other people out there, and this is what I fear, is people are going to look at this because they like to dig into either side and say, well, it's your fault that this happened, even though I don't believe it's either side's fault that this happened. That far less guarded targets, far less guarded individuals who are running for something are going to be targets of people like this, but they certainly don't have the level of detail that a president does.
Well, I'm very concerned now. In watching this, I've worked with the Secret Service a lot. When I was on the detail, Comey went to the White House often, and I was on those details. And of course, you have to interface with Secret Service. And typically, from my experience, they've been very good. When I was in the U.S. Virgin Islands, vice presidents and presidents would come to the Virgin Islands, beautiful place to vacation, and we would handle a lot of the advance. But you know what? When they came, it was literally like Die Hard. Hi, I'm Agent so-and-so, and I'm Agent so-and-so from the Secret Service, and we're taking over. And that's what they did. And that's their bailiwick. They do this day in and day out. And they assign to you, whether you're an FBI agent or you're a local butler officer, listen, we need you to handle this. And you're in their SMEAC, you're in their ops plan. Everybody's on the same page. There's a command post. All information should be going in and out to all parties. It seems like this just didn't happen at all.
Yeah, and that's one of the scary things about this is just that didn't happen at all. And we've already seen violence in the last handful of years. Gabby Giffords, Steve Scalise also being critically or hurt very severely by a gunman. I'm really scared that we're going to see a lot more of this. Do we have, at a point, it comes down to logistics here. Is there the manpower to cover this many people who are going to be out there actively campaigning from potential threats that we're seeing, or do we have to reevaluate how these campaign stops go going forward, at least this season?
Well, I think in part we need to reevaluate and make the venues more hardened, where you can't have somebody be able to shoot from 150 yards. I think venues that are contained are a much better option within a building or within a convention center or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very important that they change venues and make them more hard. Secondarily, they need to get more local offices like the sheriff's office, the police departments, and state departments involved with helping with manpower with these details. The Secret Service is very small.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very small organization, and they are reliant on other agencies helping them. And the ball was dropped here in terms of who was going to be doing what.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.